Paul, what's going on in New York? We were just talking about it. That CEO got whacked.
Oh my God, dude.
You know what's funny? I was sitting there reading an article, guy. They go, "Oh my God, he's such a great guy. He had a wife and kids, and he's such a great guy." And then you find out he and the other guys he's working for are getting sued for $121 million for dumping a stock and not letting the other people know. It's like, there's your motive,
dude. Anytime I hear CEO of one of the biggest healthcare, it's like you don't wish it on anybody. You feel horrible for his kids and his wife, of course.
On a recent edition of the Anything Better podcast, comedians Bill Burr and Paul Verzi echoed the same sentiments we and the rest of the American public have been feeling since the killing of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Paul, what is more heartless than a CEO of a corporation? The decision in healthcare, the decisions that they make. This is the thing. I'm not saying what happened should have happened, but I'm just, for them to be like, oh, this is like, why would anybody want to do this? It's like they're denying claims and people are dying. The food supply is poison. It's like the motive out there is wild.
Burr hits the nail on the head. While we and Burr are not condoning this act of violence, nor do we think that violence is a real solution to the systemic problems underlying violent actions, you are denying reality if you can't understand and acknowledge why this story resonates so positively with so many Americans, regardless of political affiliations. It has everything to do with class dynamics and the inherent injustice of someone living a lavish lifestyle, directly funded by the deaths and human suffering that come with denying someone a human right like medical care. All the while, tens of millions of people are burdened by a lifetime of medical debt, refuse necessary medical care and procedures because of the price, or just simply can't afford the basic checkups and care they deserve.
Those guys are all on the legal side of stealing. And all of those politicians, they give the politicians the heads up, and then they turn around, they make all these money. Andrew, what the were you saying? Nancy Pelosi just made $9 million on some. They're gangsters, dude. Gangsters. And then when one of them gets whacked or something, they're like, oh my God, he was such a good guy. It's a dirty game, Paul. Healthcare, dirty game.
And the dude was there for hours.
But here's my question, Paul. Why is there this level of coverage? Somebody gets gunned down in New York every day. Now all of a sudden, all these experts have to weigh in.
Yeah.
That's because of the status. We can't have white guys in suits getting whacked.
Just to bolster Burr's point that the media frenzy and overall reaction to the story is directly related to Thompson's elite status in our society, in case you somehow still need convincing. The story of the killing of a 17-year-old migrant named Jeremy Colino in Lower Manhattan is barely getting any sort of national attention. Colino and his 18-year-old friend were stabbed by a group of men after they were asked if they spoke English, and they responded that they did not. There's no wall-to-wall media coverage, no $50,000 plus reward for turning over info to help identify the suspects, no independent forensics experts weighing in on the case, and no widespread condemnation from our elected officials. There will always be a level of violence perpetuated and tolerated by those in power, and the tragic death of Jeremy Colino falls right into that category, yet this does not.
Well, Ashley, this takes us back to the end of last year, beginning of this year, where the DOJ probed UnitedHealthcare for an antitrust investigation, accusing them of perhaps creating a monopoly with the healthcare company. There was a lawsuit that was filed against several United executives, both. Thompson was not the only one as part of the probe, nor was he the only one as part of this lawsuit. But in the lawsuit, he and multiple other United Health executives are accused of offloading something like 15 million shares of stock before the probe was announced. Of course, once that investigation by the DOJ was announced, the stock then plummeted. So there were some insider trading accusations there as well.
None of these executives were being investigated by the DOJ for denying health insurance claims and screwing hundreds of thousands of people out of medical care. They were probed and subsequently sued for screwing over other rich people invested in their company.
There's an antitrust probe that's launched, and less than 2 weeks before the probe is announced, this executive sells $15 million worth of shares. And altogether, executives sold a combined $101 million worth of shares.
With all of this context in mind, this video leaked to journalist Ken Klippenstein of United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty, the parent company of UnitedHealthcare, becomes even more grim than it already is alone.
The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian. I encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like United Health Group, and it needs people like Brian within it.
The healthcare system does not need companies like United spending hundreds of millions of dollars bribing our elected officials to craft policies that directly benefit their profit margins, nor do we need companies like United denying practically a third of insurance claims from their own customers. What the healthcare system really needs is to be viewed as a necessary public good, satisfying a human right with zero profit motive, but that's wishful thinking, while people like this still hold all the power.
We're going to have some hard decisions. We got to bring the Democrats in and talk about Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. There's hundreds of billions of dollars to be saved, and we know how to do it. We just have to have the stomach to actually take those challenges on. But we can't just talk about our discretionary budget. That's less than 25% of our budget. We have to have some real hard discussions.
Well, we talk about this all the time. It seems like we're constantly talking about where to cut and the fact that the fight over defense. Do you believe that the defense budget should be cut?
I'm not a big fan of that. I think we could do things a lot better.
Be sure to subscribe to Ken Klippenstein's Substack to stay up to date with his excellent coverage and hard-hitting reporting of this case and the most important political issues we're facing today. He is a brilliant journalist, and he deserves your support in keeping the rich and powerful as accountable as possible. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.